Hello, everybody. So I am the second affirmative, and today I am also arguing that the minimum wage should be increased to at least $10. So just restating our significance, the minimum wage cannot support proper living conditions or inherency. The current federal minimum wage is too low to support any proper living conditions and solvency. We should at least increase it to $10. So our opposition stated that the minimum wage is not a living wage, and I would like to challenge that. According to Ms. Armin Yalnizyan, an economic analyst, she posted on an article on maglean.com stating that historically minimum wage wasn't about poverty reduction. It was about acknowledging the interrelationship of all work and making sure no one got left behind as wages grew. So although it was created in the time of the Great Depression, it wasn't intentionally created solely for taking people out of poverty. It was also focused on decreasing the wealth gap that was so high at that period of time. Our opposition also mentioned that benefits were lost as minimum wage increased, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, although workers under age 25 represented only about 1/5 of hourly paid workers, they made up about half of those paid on federal minimum wage or less. So those being paid on minimum wage are no longer teens. They are people who have to start supporting themselves above the age 25. So if you were a teenager and making minimum wage, that's fine. Maybe you were still living with your parents, you could at least somehow support yourself. But nowadays, as my partner stated, it's people 25 above, at least 50%. So many people have to live off of this wage. So any increase at all would help them no matter what. Furthermore, there are many instances in which minimum wage increased and people prospered. So according to PolitiFact, a website that gives political facts and political facts. On July 2016, states newly established $15 per hour minimum wage are efforts to keep affordable and efforts to keep colleges affordable and California's hundreds and thousands of clean energy jobs. So one of the main states that goes against what my opponent said is California, as we do have a minimum wage that is increasing to $15 an hour, and the federal wage is only $7.25. So California currently has the 6th largest economy in the world, and we go directly against what my opponent says, that as you increase the minimum wage, benefits are lost. We are one of the greatest examples, and New York as well, and Seattle, of how when you increase the minimum wage, people altogether, the economy increases, and people all benefit from that. Also moving on with the inherency, America's minimum wage is too small compared to its advanced economy. So America is currently the 2nd largest economy in the world, and according to The Economist, a website that provides economical facts and economical information, America as a whole is an outlier among advanced economies. One would expect America, where GDP per person is $53,000, to pay a minimum wage of at least $12 an hour. So for how far advanced we are, compared to other countries, we pay very little in terms of our minimum wage. And continuing on, the federal minimum wage is not enough to support a family. As our opponent stated again, it is not a living wage, but over 50% of the people living on that have the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage right now, are above the age of 25, and many of them have children. So according to the Economic Policy Institute, a parent who works full-time year-round at the federal minimum wage does not earn enough income to get them above the federal poverty line. So our opponent also mentioned that raising the minimum wage will not solve the poverty issue that we have in the U.S. today. But according to the Economic Policy Institute, the current minimum wage does not solve the poverty issue anyways, so increasing it would be the only way to get these Americans who live on the federal minimum wage above the poverty line. And continuing on with that, my opponent also said that if we raise the minimum wage, people will lose jobs. Small businesses will have to lay people off. And according to the Atlantic Monthly, that is a newspaper that posts articles every week or so, All told, an additional 2.11 million jobs were created in all of 2017. So even though we would lose a certain amount of jobs if we were to increase the federal minimum wage, America is constantly creating more and more jobs. And the fact that he stated that we would lose jobs is not a certain fact. When they do state that, when analysts state that we would lose jobs, they are mainly talking about future jobs, the jobs that we would have in the future. If we were to raise the income, federal minimum wage, future jobs, we would see less of those, but that's not even guaranteed. It's just a prediction of what will happen if we do raise the federal minimum wage. In fact, according to the Alternet, a website that also posts articles and facts, in fact, now more than half of workers earning under $10.10 an hour are forced to support themselves on that as their primary source of income. So as I stated earlier, the federal minimum wage, even though it is not supposed to be a living wage, for some Americans that is the only option that we currently have. And I would just want to finish it off with, us again from Ms. Armin Yalzinan, an economic analyst. She states that while some workers may lose their job after the minimum wage increase, a very large number of workers will see an important pay hike, and that will loop back into the economy. So yes, some workers may be laid off. Some people, of course, that's what always happens whenever companies living on the very edge of their profit margins see an increase in any budget. But the people that do keep their jobs, the people that do still continue to have the federal minimum wage, they'll see an increase in their paycheck. And what do people do when they have more money? They go out and spend it. And so that spending will in turn increase the economy, and overall, the benefits of the minimum wage help everyone.